think I'll get started now. So welcome everybody. Thanks for giving up your time this afternoon and for joining us for the virtual launch of the European Spa Platinum Resource 2025. It's been a project we have been working on for almost a year. As soon as we finished the 2024 edition, we sat down and started getting underway with our planning meetings and working out who we were to speak to and look at the big topics as well that were happening in the industry that we wanted to address. And you can access the Platinum Resource now. It's live online on europeansparmagazine.com. But because you have registered for this event, you will also get a live link to the edition in your email box tomorrow from 9 o'clock onwards, depending on where you are in the world. My name is Mark Smith, and I'm the Deputy Editor of European Spa Magazine. I've been working with the title since 2012. And Sarah, our editor and founder, she first sent me to a spa in 2007, and I was hooked ever since. So I will have a lot to be grateful for to Sarah. We have people joining from all around the world today. We've got from Bali, Hong Kong, Thailand, India, Brazil, across the Middle East, Europe, UK, USA, and Canada. We've also got representatives from a number of large international organizations from Hilton, Mandarin Oriental, Shangri-La, Four Seasons, Waldorf Astoria, Conrad, Bulgari, Peninsula, and Anantara. So welcome to each and every one of you. Earlier in this week, we held the in-person event, which was to launch the European Spa Platinum Resource. And we did that in partnership with Jumeirah Carbon Tower. We had over 200 people attending that, spa directors, architects, designers, spa associations, and leading industry lights from all across Europe. Well attended, and we've got some great photos online. You can read more about that on our website from tomorrow onwards. The edition has some printed VIP copies, and we distribute those at leading events across Europe and the UK. But you can always access it for free online. You can also download the edition through Issue, and it's fairly clear where you can do that. So you always have a copy downloaded to your desktop. Now, for the next session, I'd like to bring in Sarah Camilleri, the founder and editorial director of European Spa, and she's going to introduce the handbook and talk in more detail about the contents, some of the reasoning behind that, and then I will come back a little bit later on because we're also being joined by Lindsay, Madden, Nadeau, and also Emlyn Brown. Emlyn's from Accor, and Lindsay is from the Red Sea Global Project. And so they'll be talking a little bit about what they're doing, and Sarah's got some great questions. So there'll be a really great insight for the event as well. So Sarah, over to you.
Okay, hello, can you hear me well?
Yep.
Thank you so much, Mark, and thank you everyone for coming today. I think we've all jumped into 2025 and we know it's going to be a big, exciting year, especially for the spa and wellness world. But today is really a celebration of spa leadership, which is what we're all about with European Spa. And I wanted to thank you all for coming, first of all, because showing up daily in our world is all about passion, purpose, and commitment. So I think real leadership in our human-to-human industry is going to be right about that. It's really tuning into people, connecting, and finding out what our guests want, and also really understanding what our teams want. As Mark mentioned, you know, we started planning this handbook a year ago, and it was the day after the last one had been launched, the first one we did, and much to the horror of the team, we had to start talking about it then. But I'm really pleased that we had that big conversation and decided that, well, how are we going to do something different this year? So every page is unique, and our new book has really been put together to help people out in industry to lead well. We've talked to so many people, but I think before we move on to that, I'd like to just talk about passion, purpose, and having the right perspective for the future, because I think it really matters for our industry. And there's so many different messages out there, and it'll be interesting to talk about those later with our esteemed guests. But I think the thing we all need to do is think about what we're doing and why we're doing it first. So for us on European Spa, it's always been about bringing you the best spa intelligence and information we can find so that you, busy in spa, can be in touch with everyone in our community. We've tracked that success for 18 years now, and seen the industry change so rapidly. It's very exciting, but at the same time requires a level of flexibility and dynamism that we have to keep up with. So let's just touch again on where we are right now. The global spa industry is truly remarkable. It's now valued at $136 billion. I missed out the 0.8, so $136.8 billion by the Global Wellness Institute. Now, that's set to grow, they predict, to $184 billion by 2028. So we need to stop and think about the fact that we're part of a global movement, and that's just spa. But let's talk about spa because that's our home. The wellness industry is growing rapidly, but we're all about spa and how spas need to adapt. Moving on to the book, I'd really like to talk about some numbers. So if we could put those on screen. Thank you. So yes, so today is about celebrating this book, which we hope will be kept on your desk as you do your work throughout the year. We've got a lot happening in the book. There's 232 pages of content, and it's all original. So from there, we have tried to highlight, as well as all the best brands in the business, we've tried to highlight the topics that really matter. So you'll find 4 in-depth features that you can dip in and out of, which look at important subjects like data, AI, some stats and facts to track the industry. And we've also called upon the expertise of 33 leading industry experts. So you'll find 62 super brands in there. And also, we've moved on to the other numbers. I can't believe we did all of this, but we wanted to celebrate the people. That's what we do at European Spa. So we've asked 10 global leaders to give us their inspiration about the industry in the year ahead. So, there's plenty of content in the book, but I'd like to move on now to 2 of my favorite people out in the industry, leading lights, who are joining us today. I'm delighted to host Lindsay and Emlyn. Lindsay's a powerhouse. She's tuned in from Saudi Arabia and is leading one of the biggest projects in the world right now in terms of wellness strategy. As the Wellness Strategy and Development Director for Red Sea Global, Lindsay has quite a lot to juggle. Emlyn, I always count on Emlyn as a respected industry leader who really is a barometer for what's happening out there and looks after so many spas and people around the world. As Global Vice President of Wellbeing for Accor, I think he's in New York right now doing something very exciting, but we're very pleased to have Emlyn here today, and he's been a huge support for the realization of this book. So without further ado, if I can bring Emlyn and Lindsay in, that would be fantastic. Hello. Hi, Lindsay. Hi, Emlyn.
So how are you doing?
Great. Well, look, let's kick off, Emlyn, with you. I mean, tell us a little bit about what you're doing right now and why this spa industry is so important in 2025.
Right now, I'm in a very, very cold New York, as you cold, about minus 15 degrees centigrade. So it's been a very interesting couple of days. I suppose I'm very fortunate to be here. We're launching, I think, one of our most iconic projects we worked on the last 5 years here with our Fairmont Group, where we'll be opening in September of this year a new bathing and wellness concept in the mountains of Lake Louise, which is a UNESCO heritage site and also part of Canadian national parks. We're bringing essentially an alpine bathing concept over 1,500 square meters to one of the most, I think, stunning locations on the planet. So I've been over here sort of beating the drum and launching that, and that's a really exciting part of our job and role. We've been working on that project for a number of years, and to see it come to fruition now with its official launch is very exciting. So being over here doing that and brazing the cold in order to beat the drum. I think that, in terms of 2025 for the spa industry, it continues to be such a vital part of people's thought process and psyche. I think we're going to see a further, let's call it, acceleration of adoption of spa and wellness practices, which is both fantastic for us and from a business point of view. But I think that, when we touched on this, maybe through our trends, which appears in the Platinum Book, I think the 2025 for us represents maybe a return to the more simple and renowned values of wellness and well-being, movement, nutrition, mindfulness practice, and how important they actually are to supporting well-being. I think that we've had a really big last couple of years talking about biohacking and longevity and the use of tech and medicinal practice, number one, which is a fantastic addition to our business. But I think at the same time, we're seeing a lot of information out there that's confusing our consumer. We talk in our report about the fact that only 2% of any nutritional content posted online through social media is actually of any value. You can understand the bombardment our guests and consumers are having about what is healthy, what is not healthy. One minute kale is healthy, 1 minute it's not. 1 minute it's 10,000 steps, next minute it's 8,000 steps. I think consumers will take a step back and say to themselves, what are the fundamental practices that I need to do to be well? Right. And I think 99% of that will be based around movement and nutrition, which we fully understand, and the use of mindfulness, and then how our spas can support that. And I think it's a very fantastic opportunity. So for me, I think 2025 will be a year of fundamentals, I think, from our consumers and also certainly from us within Accor.
Fantastic. Well, if I can bring Lindsay in. Lindsay, we're delighted to have you here today. And I'm very curious that it's cold where you are.
It's cold, yeah. We're in the desert, it's cold.
Yeah, and please tell us a bit more about what's happening for you right now and 2025, what's going to be important for the spa world.
Sure. So thank you for having me today. And thank you for the addition to the Platinum Guide. I had an opportunity to review it today, excuse me, when it was released. And from cover to cover, it's just got some exceptional people and information and brands and content. So thank you for bringing that to the industry. My name, as you said, is, excuse me, Lindsay. I work for a Saudi-based developer here in Saudi Arabia. I'm based out of Riyadh and have been for almost the last 2 years. And I'm here because Saudi Arabia is going through a huge transformation. It's coming from a country that's been known in the past to be quite closed. It didn't really open its doors unless it was to more religious tourism. And the blueprint for the future transformation has been Vision 2030, which is really leading the transformative shift happening in Saudi Arabia. We have 10 giga projects across the kingdom, and Red Sea Global is one of the developers that represents 2 of those giga projects. And each of those giga projects actually represents a different way to diversify the economy and to attract more tourism to the region. So what you'll be hearing about next year in 2025 is the launch of our Amala Wellness destination. We actually have more than one destination that's being launched, but Amala is dedicated through the visionary leadership of His Royal Highness as being the most comprehensive health and wellness destination in the world. So I work for the developer and I sit on the development team and I help to curate that strategy, to work with the operators to create the wellness programs at all of our destinations. So I think that's a really interesting place to be because not only am I just working with a variety of brands, I'm overseeing an entire destination and the strategy behind that. And because the destination is so comprehensive in wellness, there's so many different layers to add to that. But I do get to see a lot of different operators and their approach to wellness and their strategies and what their demands are. And I think to your point, Sarah, the industry itself for spa is seen in the global economy as the small bubble that says 137 billion. But actually, when you layer in preventative medicine, longevity, prevention, beauty, all of these complementary treatments, that actually is a large component of what happens in these spas. And I think that we're seeing a more savvy wellness traveler. And we're seeing a more specialized request, and the spa's answering that call. They're adapting, they're shifting. And to Emlyn's point earlier, there's still this desire, whilst there's all of this highly specialized tech, is to really go back to what is traditional spa, and what does that bring to the industry. So I think it's an interesting time. It's an evolution because wellness has been the star for a long time. But spas are evolving the way that they operate and the services that they provide, and guests are then responding to that they want this personalized experience. So I think 2025 is going to be quite interesting in terms of seeing how spas are adopting that, but in a really authentic way.
Fantastic. I mean, it's so interesting to hear both of you speaking, and you're traveling all over the world and listening to constantly and bringing them together like spa mixologists, which I love. Emlyn's talking about fundamentals, you're talking about transformation, but we're all talking about authenticity. And I on stage this week, it was so interesting to hear Sarah Dalton from Jumeirah also talking about intentional rest and creating spaces where people can really untap from their busy lives. So I think time's going to be a big thing too, as well as all of the things we can provide. Moving on to the next thing that we really wanted to touch on. Emlyn, back to you. What are you most passionate about bringing to the spa industry this year?
I think I'm really passionate at the moment about the power of hot and cold therapy, right? Which is essentially this return and this resurgence of sauna culture and sweat culture, which I think is going to be a huge acceleration in the UK. I'm excited about in the UK and also Europe and beyond, right? So we're seeing incredible concepts coming up in Toronto with Othership, or in Bathhouse here in New York with our own basin at ultra luxury level. But, the UK's opened over 350 outdoor saunas over the last 12 months alone, right? Which is allowing us to really democratize this incredible healing practice of sweat culture, right? Combining that with cold therapy and mindfulness, I think there's three of the most powerful and certainly democratic ways of impacting someone's health and well-being. And the science and the research coming out in terms of the benefits a sauna can have on the culture. So I'm excited about that, because let's say you're working within a hotel spa and a hotel concept. These are things we're delivering anyway. But how we deliver that now in terms of animating it through Avgud ceremony, or promoting and showing the health benefits of that, or animating in a way through group class or group cold plunge or group breathwork, I think it's a really exciting place for us to be. So for me, I think that upswing and trend is going to really sort of catch hold and really accelerate the next 2 to 3 years. And I think within spas that have those facilities, they can really add that to benefit to it. But what I really like about it is this sort of democratization. I think that it's a really, really broad appeal, fun and dynamic way of delivering wellness and well-being to our guests and to consumers. We're going to see a lot of new exciting things coming in the market. So certainly a push from our side, and certainly one thing I'm excited to see that's moving, accelerating.
Mm-hmm. Me too, because it's one of my favorite pastimes in a spa for sure. And I had the pleasure of going up and meeting Lasse and his team in Norway last year, and being with all the Avgud champions, and it was just such an eye-opener. Lindsay, what are you passionate about bringing to spa this year? You've got so much going on.
Yeah, well, I think the launch of a wellness destination is probably what I'm most excited about, and where my focus is going to be. We are due to launch phase 1 of Amala in Q4 of 2025. And that first phase will be 8 of some of the top health and wellness brands from around the world, as well as some of the top luxury operators from around the world. So brands like Ritz-Carlton, who are in the process of creating a beautiful white label wellness brand for us that's really dedicated to Amala, and something that steps really outside of the box for Ritz-Carlton, because they're traditionally a very spa-driven brand. They want to create something bespoke. We have Namos, who's looking at a partnership spa, which is quite interesting. Namos was a restaurant, and it's now evolving into a hospitality model, and adding their spa and wellness component. Equinox is Equinox Hotels. Many of you will know it for Equinox Fitness is coming to the region. It's going to be the first hotel outside of America, and it's going to be the first one within the Middle East. Equinox, the hotel experience is incredible. It's very much driven on recovery. It's high performance lifestyle, high performance living, high performance sport, high performance fitness, wellness. It's got a really different flavor to it than other spas. So I think the diversity in that's been really interesting. We have Rosewood, who will be bringing their Saya, and that will be one of our flagships. So we're working with them. Six Senses it's a wellness hospitality brand, and so I'm very excited to see how they've implemented wellness in other places and how they'll do that at Amala. And then we have Clinical Prairie, which will be opening their third resort property, which is very exciting in their expansion. Their medical programs are top notch, and then on top of that, we also have Jayasam, which is a brand new brand to the industry. It comes from the family of Shivasam in Zulal. And, it's all about family wellness. And, we've got the adult version and we've got the family version, but it's really purposely built. It's not like a luxury hospitality where we've built additional recreation into it. And then the destination itself, that's just phase one. Phase two, we haven't actually announced any of our operators yet because we're still working on the final architectural drawings. But in phase one, you've already got a fairly robust and diverse set of wellness operators that are really working hard to create really unique programs there will be some overlap, but that really differentiate. We layer into that our wellness route, which is going to be, hiking, biking, running, equestrian. We've got the organic farm. We've got the wellness village, which is really just a place for enrichment and a place where we will be, welcoming some of the biggest names in wellness in the world to come and speak. And then we have our yacht club and Corallium, which is a marine life institute, and it's all rooted in sustainability. So when we look at, as a wellness consumer and what we believe that guest is looking for, when you look at the different layers that Red Sea Global has put together for Destination Amala, it really touches on everything, that whole framework of wellness tourism. So I think we're going to start to see an increase in wellness tourism, but we're also going to see a large increase because Saudi Arabia is not typically known to have a lot of spas right now. And if you think about the expansion that's happening across these 10 giga projects, each hotel now is building a spa. Before it was really not a consideration. And we've got Sofitel that's going to be opening soon in Riyadh, and Mandarin Oriental has come, Four Seasons is here, Cyro is signing. So we've got all of these really great brands that are coming to Saudi Arabia. So that means that the platform for spa is going to be even higher.
That's fantastic. And exactly what I meant about being quite busy. You've got a busy year ahead. But, something that stood out for me is the layering and the fact that SPA is going to be pioneering there as well. You mentioned family well-being, and Emlyn talked about democratization. I'm looking forward to actually visiting Chiva Som's site in the Middle East on Sunday to learn more about their Islamic healing and also their family facilities. It will be really exciting to see how a site is delivered that's just been designed with that very purpose. So I'm really excited about seeing what Karen and the team have been doing there. But taking it back to you, Emlyn, we've talked about this year. We've talked about some of the things that will shape demand. Did you want to add something here?
I think shaping demand, we're talking about the spa industry, and I think that we recently had an opportunity to publish the idea about commercial excellence, Sarah, within European spas, which I know a number of people may have read, and if you don't, I think it will be worth touching base on that. But I think within the spa industry, we talked about this, is that the importance of that industry, the importance of what spa actually is, can sometimes be overconsumed by the word wellness or the idea of approach to wellness. It's a fantastic demand for delivering exceptional spa services, particularly human interaction spa services. Within our hotels, 85% of our business still remains massage and physical delivery, right? And we should be proud of that, and we should be looking to create exceptional excellence in that. I think that 2025, from a commercial perspective, will be about your delivery and your ability to deliver excellence within your business and your internal focus. There's a lot going on around us that's creating a lot of, I'm going to say, fear and challenge and possible mental health issues, the need for us to take more time out for ourselves will only accelerate. And I think that our spas that can offer those moments of pause, moments of time, and moments of human interaction through exceptional treatment delivery will prosper. So I think the message is we can sometimes get caught up in our industry about what's new, what's great, what's coming. Why I don't have a cryotherapy, I can't be successful. In fact, what you have is a great set of human beings working in your business. They are your incredible machine to deliver exceptional services. And the more you focus on those people, the more successful you'll be. Because I think going back to that, the authenticity, human interaction, and taking a moment to pause, there's nothing wrong with pampering. People still like that, want to have that, and take those times out. And those spas that deliver that will be exceptionally successful. So I think the message for my colleagues, I see a number of friends and people online is, let's not be apologizing for being a fantastic spa experience that delivers human interaction and fantastic massage treatment deliveries. There's a lot to be said about that. And there's a lot of profitability that can be generated from that if it's done well and if you focus on excellence. I suppose that would be the message for 25.
Fantastic. And Lindsay, the biggest challenges we face for 2025, how do you feel about that?
Diversification. And I would say that within spas. I'll be honest, we have 2 destinations. One has 12 hotels and one has another 12 hotels. And we were working very closely with them to receive their wellness strategies. And I have to say that, and this is to Emlyn's earlier point, that, within the recovery space and this kind of this wave of recovery of like, must have a cryo chamber, must have this, must have that. I think that there is this just, there's an overaccumulation of the same treatments and people are just moving. Like, it's almost like when
I think we might have lost Lindsay. Okay. Can anyone
hear me?
Yes, you're back, Lindsay. I think we've lost the signal a bit. We've got a frozen Lindsay.
Are you there? I can hear you guys. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. No, I think that becomes a challenge because, and maybe this is just me as a wellness consumer, but I think that the wellness and the spa consumers are more savvy. And so they're expecting more personalization. And with more personalization, there becomes, this desire for more science-backed treatments. And that's what the advanced tech is bringing as well. And I feel that the spas are implementing that, but not, when I say not authentic, I mean, it's not science-backed. Like, just to wake up and do a cold plunge and not understand why I need to do a cold plunge or when I need to do a cold plunge or what time I need to do it at. I think there's a responsibility there within the industry to make sure that we're providing these treatments in a way that is safe and healthy and in the best interest. And so I think that that's a challenge for me is first of all, making sure that there's a diversity, because if I look across, some of these hotels, almost every single one of them have the same things. And it's mind, body, spirit. And so when you've got a destination and you've got all these hotels, it doesn't even matter if you're in a city, you've got everyone now offering the exact same treatments because they think that that's what they need to offer. So making sure that you can find your niche and to find out what really makes your unique proposition. And, we've done this in one of our destinations. We have our luxury spa hotels. We have our dedicated wellness programs. We have our family wellness. And so each one of those hotels really represents something different on the value chain of spa. And wellness and what that can offer. But I think people have to work a lot harder at making sure that what they're offering actually makes sense and they're not just putting things in just to put it in.
For sure. And I'd love to add, because I resonate with everything Emlyn's just said, and you're mentioning the confusion as well from the beginning, that we really do need to raise the value of our people, because it's what happens between the people in that space. It might be a treatment room or how they've been greeted and all the spa team that really make the difference. And they're the ones that make the moments and make the magic. So thank you both for saying that, because I know that you have to look after the numbers and you have to make things happen. But actually you understand the fundamentals, which is it's people that do the transaction. It's the intangible in spa that's important that we often don't speak about. So Mark, how are we doing for time? Am I being good?
You're being very good. We've got about another 4 minutes.
Okay, fantastic. Well, I think We're very honoured to have you both here today and in your busy schedules. One of the things I asked you is if you could give us a takeaway each for everyone that's turned up today, because it's really great to have everyone online to celebrate our launch. Would you like to start, Emlyn?
Yeah, I think just to follow on from the comments I made before, I think in order to create success within 25 within our SPA colleagues, I think you need a ruthless focus on reputation, right? To understand that your reputation from your TripAdvisor online, your reviews, your guest reviews is really what is going to drive your business forward. There's a lot of focus on doing, sales and marketing, promotion and different elements there. If you think about great restaurants, think about great spas or great bars even, right? All the three things I love in my life, right? It's a reputation I know from word of mouth and from online, and reputations that I read really drive back the business to me. And therefore, by embracing that idea of reputation push, either through PR, sales and marketing, promotion, guest satisfaction, that's your business driver. So I think that in 2025, the focus being on your team, your delivery of excellence, but making sure that excellence is amplified through reputation management, right? And really embracing the capabilities of your CRM system, not just using it like a Excel booking sheet, would be a tip from me in order to really drive top line, which then comes back and becomes that sort of virtuous circle of success. So that would be a final comment I'd make.
Thank you, Emily. Lindsay.
And I'll add to that because I wholeheartedly agree. I think, I would say build customer trust. I think you need to find your niche. I think you need to build credibility, and then you need to find solutions to making that niche really credible. Because I think if you're a brand and you really stand out, like from a reputation perspective, and you're known to be credible, people will trust you and you'll become a trusted partner in the industry. And I think that's really important in a space where consumers are really already confused, and they're confused because of the way that we market. And they're also confused because, their Whoop tells them that they should be doing this and something else tells them they should be doing that. And, it's a capitalist market. So find your niche, build some credibility, and build your consumer trust.
Fantastic. I'm so happy to have you both here. We could talk for another half an hour on all of these things, but hopefully we've sparked some ideas and conversation. We have connected a lot of these dots in the handbook, so I hope that you'll enjoy some of the topics that we've touched in the handbook today. After this call, when you can all see the book. And thank you to Lindsay and Emlyn for giving us their time and also being SPA leaders we admire in our book. And I extend that to wellness, Lindsay, of course, because it's so important. And thank you for everything you're doing out there in industry and beside your jobs to drive the business forward. I'm going to bring Mark back in now.
And excuse me, we're going to change the gear ever so slightly. And as we did last year, we brought in a little bit of wellness. Now, some of you will know that in addition to being Deputy Editor at European SPA, I also teach mindfulness. I first came to the practice 14 years ago because of stress and anxiety, which is what brings most people to meditation or mindfulness. During the pandemic, I decided I wanted to teach, so I learned how to do that, and I now teach across the southeast of the UK in person, on the beach, and also do things online. And I've done some work with Hilton and Kohler Water Spa. And today what we're going to do is a very, very short practice. We'll be doing some grounding exercises. Plus we will also do some intention setting. So ideally, because most of you, it looks like you're at a desk, you'll have a piece of paper and a pen. But we'll come on to that in a moment. First of all, I'd like you just to take a deep breath, in and out through the nose, extending the out breath. And sit back in your chair, but with an upright sort of sense of openness across the front of the body. Not slouching. You've got your feet on the ground, ideally. And take a moment to connect with your body. You can keep your eyes open or gently close them. But just connect in with the body and perhaps ask yourself, how do I feel today? How do I feel today? And when was the last time that you asked yourself this question? When did you last stop, pause, and be still? I'm beginning to sense now into the body. Just notice what it feels like. Noticing that connection with the chair that's supporting you. The points of connection of your body with the chair. And maybe even the parts that aren't connected. Your mind will wander. That's absolutely normal. We're hardwired to do that. But when you notice it's wandered off, just bring it back into the body. And for a moment or two, turn your attention to the breath. Aware of that gentle rhythm, the pattern as you breathe in and you breathe out. Aware of the expansion and contraction as you inhale and exhale. And then ask yourself a question once again. How do I feel now? Has there been a shift or a change? By stopping, pausing, and being still for just 5 minutes. Could that be something that you do each and every day? And now opening your eyes, if they've been closed, bring some movement into the fingers and toes. And then have a think about what should you leave behind in 2024? What is it that no longer serves you? It could be bad habits, arguments, regrets, anger, fear. What can you just gently leave behind last year as you look forward to 2025? Maybe visualize letting it go, or for some people it works as you breathe out, just breathing out this thing that you want to leave behind. Exhaling deeply. Let it go. And then with your pen and paper, I'm just going to pose 3 short questions and just make some notes for yourself. So first of all, how will you bring kindness and compassion into your life this year? It could be bullet points, it could be long form writing, whatever works for you. And how will you bring kindness and compassion into your life? And then secondly, how will you manage the inner critic in your mind this year? We all have that inner critic, that inner voice questioning us, doubting us. How will you manage that critic? Could be certain techniques, could be some self-care, different practices. And then finally, briefly, most important for wellness leaders, but sometimes often neglected, what one simple thing can you do today to bring wellness into your life? And with that one thing, see if you can do it today. So this short intention practice is not about New Year's resolutions. It's more about dealing with your heart, kindness, compassion. These can all feed into the way you work as an individual, but also operate as a spa lead. We've had some lovely comments in the chat as well. Very nice, Lara. Thank you very much. Jean-Guy, connection, kindness, creativity, positivity. I love that from the Zoom user. A lot of power. 2024, Jean-Guy again. Thank you very much. I'm going to bring Sarah back in just for a moment, and then we will have some time for some questions. As Sarah's coming back in, I'd like to also extend a very special thank you to our platinum sponsors of the Platinum Resource, ESPA, Elemis, Gariani, and Jumeirah Carlton Tower.
Thank you so much, Mark. That was really beautiful. And at the beginning of this conversation, you said to me, I have a lot to be grateful for. Well, I certainly have a lot to be grateful for. I have you on my team, and I have a whole team of wonderful people that support what we're doing every single day. So, you know, again, you've just reminded us of the power of pause and the power of connection. And just taking a little bit more heart into leadership is where we need to go. And SPA people are the people that do it really, really well. So thank you to everyone for turning up today, showing up, and hopefully this has set your day and some of those beautiful questions that Mark's just given us will also make you think on tonight and take time for yourselves. I'd love to thank Lindsay and Emlyn for being here and helping us today, taking such their precious time out of hugely busy schedules to support European Spa and all of us and launch our book, and just always giving us inspiration and ideas for content. But most of all, I'd like to thank my team for taking the ride for another year to produce a book alongside all their other work. And we really hope you enjoy it and keep it on your desk as the ultimate companion. And it will inspire lots of ideas to make your businesses in spa more successful. Whatever role you play, whether you are serving the industry with your hands, whether you're leading teams, whether you are a product developer or an architect or consultant, we're here for you. So thank you so much. And I'll hand back over to Mark to finish, but we're delighted that you're here today.
Thank you, Sarah. And we do have time just for a couple of questions. If anyone wanted to put those in, there's some lovely thank you messages, and we really appreciate those, particularly very much. So, but we do have just time. If there was a question or two, pop those into the chat. But if not, we can all conclude on a really quiet and gentle moment. So thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Monica, Debbie. Very kind. Yeah, we appreciate everyone giving up their time, because we know time is precious, and particularly in a busy operation, it can be hard to pull yourself away from all of the demands that you face in your working day. So thank you very much. Thanks, Stephen. Thanks, Kabir. Thanks, Erica. Oh, I didn't realize you were there. Lovely to see you. Bless you. Thanks, Jackie. We will put this recording online, and we're going to put it up with the story as well that Wendy will be putting together. But please do visit EuropeanSpaMagazine.com because you'll be able to see about our in-person event. That story is going live tomorrow. And you will have all been signed up to receive our newsletters, and you'll get a link to the handbook first thing tomorrow. So the Platinum resource will be in your inbox around 9 o'clock or thereabouts, depending on where you are in the world. So we're going to round this up now. Alexandra, thank you. Thank you. Lovely. So we'll get, but if anyone wanted to contact us directly, you can find that those links on the website as well. So Spa PR team, if we could conclude this now, and thank you once again, everyone.